The airport was bustling with the usual chaos of arrivals and departures, a constant hum of rolling luggage, footsteps, and voices filling the air. Soldiers in uniform embraced their families, travelers rushed to meet loved ones, and the scent of coffee and fast food mingled with the faint antiseptic smell of the terminal. Among the crowd stood Sergeant Daniel Hayes, a man in his early 30s with a strong frame, weary eyes, and a heart full of anticipation. After 3 long years deployed overseas, he had finally returned home. And yet his mind was in tea on the hugs of family or the bustling terminal. It was on one particular reunion that had been years in the making. His dog Max, a golden Labrador, had been with him before deployment, a loyal companion who had shared countless adventures and quiet nights at home. Max had been his anchor, his comfort, and when Daniel left, he had reluctantly entrusted Max to his neighbor, promising to return for him. But deployments had a way of stretching time, of warping the calendar, and now, after years apart, Daniel's heart raced at the thought of seeing Max again. As he stepped out of the gate, his eyes scanned the crowd, searching for a familiar golden face and wagging tail. Max, sensing something in the air, had been restless for days. The neighbor had tried to prepare him for the arrival, but the dog seemed to understand that something monumental was about to happen. And then, amidst the throng of passengers, Max's nose twitched. His ears perked. He bolted forward, his legs pumping, and the world seemed to slow as Daniel dropped his bag and knelt, tears welling in his eyes. Max skidded to a stop just a few feet away, his tail wagging uncontrollably, eyes bright with recognition. Moments stretched into eternity, a perfect convergence of years of longing, love, and loyalty. Daniel called out, his voice breaking, "Max, it's me, buddy." The dog barked joyfully and leaped forward, colliding with Daniel in a tangle of fur, paws, and pure happiness. Onlookers paused, many with phones out, capturing the extraordinary reunion that was playing out like a scene from a movie. Some couldn't help but wipe tears from their eyes, moved by the raw emotion displayed between man and dog. For Daniel, the world narrowed down to the soft fur, the warm, wet nose, and the steady heartbeat of his loyal companion. He hugged Max tightly, burying his face in the dog's neck, inhaling the familiar scent that had haunted his dreams during long nights overseas. Max licked his face, winced softly, and nuzzled closer, as if to reassure his owner that he had waited, that he had been faithful through every day of separation. The neighbor, standing nearby, smiled, tears in her eyes. "I knew he'd remember you," she said softly. Daniel nodded, too choked up to speak, his heart swelling with gratitude and overwhelming emotion. People passing by couldn't look away. A young mother stopped with her child, whispering, "Look at that dog. He's so happy to see his owner." Dum da 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 da, briefcase in hand, muttered under his breath. That's the kind of loyalty you rarely see. For the next several minutes, Daniel and Max were inseparable. The airport buzzed around them, but they existed in a bubble of reunion, a private world of shared memories and love. Daniel scratched behind Max's ears, hugged him tight, whispered stories of the past 3 years, the places he had been, the missions he had faced, the nights he had spent missing home. Max listened, head tilted, eyes bright, and occasionally nudged his owner as if to say, "I was here. I never left." After the initial excitement, Daniel took a moment to steady himself and look at Max properly. The dog had aged slightly, his muzzle flecked with gray, but his spirit remained unbroken, his eyes still full of intelligence and warmth. Daniel ran his hands over Max's back, feeling the familiar muscles and soft fur, marveling at how time had changed both of them, yet had left their bond unaltered. "You stayed strong for me, buddy," Daniel whispered, his voice trembling. Max barked softly, nudging his hand as though to confirm that he had indeed. The reunion attracted more attention as minutes passed. Other passengers paused, some snapping pictures, others simply stopping to witness the rare, raw display of loyalty. A couple of flight attendants whispered to each other, "I didn't expect to cry today, but that dog, that man, it's too much." It wasn't just a reunion. It was a testament to the enduring bond between humans and animals, a reminder that love and loyalty could persist across time, distance, and hardship. Daniel knew that the days ahead would be filled with paperwork, meetings, and calls to catch up on missed responsibilities. But at that moment, none of that mattered. All that mattered was Max, the dog who had waited, who had remembered, who had refused to let years of absence erode the connection they shared. Max seemed to sense the emotional weight of the moment, leaning against Daniel, his body pressing close, offering comfort not just to his owner, but also to himself. Daniel laughed through his tears, a shaky, heartfelt sound. "I can't believe you're really here," he said. "I thought I'd never see you again." Max barked in agreement, tail wagging furiously, eyes locked onto Daniel's. The airport staff, witnesses to the extraordinary reunion, whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads in disbelief, others wiped tears from their cheeks, moved by the display of unconditional love and loyalty. One older man waiting for his own flight commented, "I've seen soldiers come home before, but I've never seen a dog greet a man like that. That's something else." After a few moments, Daniel leaned back slightly, still holding Max's leash, taking in the dog fully. He realized that this reunion wasn't just about happiness, it was about healing. The past 3 years had been tough, filled with challenges that had tested him in every way imaginable. But seeing Max again reminded him of home, of safety, and of the unwavering presence of someone who had waited faithfully, without complaint or doubt. Daniel knelt again, brushing his hands through Max's fur, speaking softly. "I missed you so much, buddy. I didn't realize how much until now." Max nudged his hand, a gentle reassurance, as if to say, "I knew you'd come back." "I always knew." Families walking past paused, sensing the gravity of the moment. Mothers held their children tighter, couples clutched hands, and even strangers in the terminal felt a lump in their throats. It was a moment that transcended language, a universal expression of love, loyalty, and reunion. Eventually, Daniel and Max made their way toward the exit. Each step was careful, deliberate, as though the dog wanted to make sure he never left his owner's side again. People continued to watch, some following at a distance, snapping photos or simply marveling at the bond unfolding before them. Outside, the sunlight hit their faces, warm and comforting. Daniel knelt one last time, hugging Max tightly, whispering, "We're home, buddy. Finally, we're home." Max barked happily, tail wagging, as though in celebration, ready to start a new chapter alongside the man who had been his whole world. That evening, Daniel and Max returned to the house they had once shared, a place filled with memories of play, walks in the park, and quiet nights together. The reunion continued, not just as an emotional moment, but as a reaffirmation of life itself. Max settled into his favorite spot by the window, and Daniel sat nearby, watching him, feeling the years of absence melt away with every wag of the tail, every soft nuzzle. Friends and family who visited over the next few days were struck by the depth of their bond. "It's incredible," Daniel's mother said, tears in her eyes. "You've both changed, but your connection, it hasn't. It's like you were never apart." Daniel smiled, watching Max stretch and yawn, finally at peace. "He's more than a pet," he said softly. "He's family. He's been waiting for me all this time, and he's never left my side in spirit." Max, seemingly understanding every word, rested his head on Daniel's knee, eyes bright and alert. Outside, neighbors paused to wave as they saw the familiar golden Labrador, now reunited with the man who had been away for so long. News outlets caught wind of the reunion, sharing photos and stories online. And soon, people around the country were touched by the simple yet profound act of a dog waiting faithfully for his owner to return. Weeks passed, and Daniel adjusted to civilian life once more, but Max remained his constant companion. Walks in the park, quiet evenings at home, and playful mornings became the routine that healed both the soldier and his loyal dog. And in those moments, Daniel often reflected on the reunion at the airport, realizing that sometimes the greatest heroes aren't humans, they're the loyal hearts that wait, unyielding, for the return of someone they love. In the years that followed, Daniel would often tell the story of his reunion with Max's two friends, family and strangers alike, always emphasizing the patience, love, and loyalty that his dog had shown. "If you ever doubt devotion," he would say, "just look at Max. He waited for me, no matter what, and he never gave up." And Max, lying faithfully at his feet, seemed to smile in agreement. The golden retriever who had taught a soldier the true meaning of homecoming, loyalty, and unconditional love.